Today's Michelleology and meditation. Entering in the very corners of your mind, the power that God has entrusted us with. We're going to begin to open the day up for opportunities, the space and place to create your path for the day. We're going to meditate on mentalism. And if you don't know what mentalism is, it's one of the 7 principles of God. For the next 7 days, we're going to explore those 7 principles because they are the foundation of our creative forces and our power, the anointing that God has given us. And so as we walk through those 7 principles, we're going to begin to know more about who we are internally, who we are spiritually, who we are mentally, emotionally, and it will manifest out physically. So today we're going to talk about mentalism, knowing that the mind is all and all is the mind. So when I say that, I'm saying that you have to be conscious of your mind. Now, your mind and your brain are not the same. Your brain is the operating force of your body, but your mind is more attached to spirituality than it is to the physical form. And so we have to be very conscious of every thought. Over 40 to 50,000 thoughts enter your mind every day. And so a lot of times we allow the thoughts to just roam. And when the thoughts begin to roam, they get into your brain. Then your brain produces chemicals that run to your body. And then your body begins to respond to the very thoughts that have ignited all kind of chemicals into your body. And it causes you to have emotional responses. Chemicals cause emotional responses. That is the reason that people get addicted to drugs, because there's a chemical that releases in their body and causes them to feel a certain way emotionally. And they keep coming back to that same drug to try to reach the first emotional feeling that they felt the first time. And that's how they get addicted, because every time that they use the drug, they don't reach that feeling they first had. And so they keep continually doing the drug to try to reach that feeling. Well, this is what happens in mentalism. When you take full authority over your mental mind, over your thoughts, over your thinking, you begin to cause your brain to release a chemical within your body, causes you to feel a certain way. You will feel good. You will feel empowered. You will feel as if there's nothing impossible for you to do. And this is a good addiction. As you begin to feel those and you begin to release those in your body, you release stress, you release cortisone. Cortisone is a chemical that releases from stress, and it causes body fat, causes you to gain weight. There are a lot of things that we're not aware of that the mind has the ability to connect with the brain to produce in the body. So mentalism, knowing that mind is all and all is God. And so when you connect your mind to the all, the omnipotent, the almighty, the ever-knowing, the eternal one and his anointing, you begin to possess all things. All things become possible. The impossibilities are eliminated or deleted. And so this is why this principle is what we're meditating on, knowing the way to take, knowing. Say we fail for the lack of knowing. And so it's most important that you take care of your mind. All through the Bible, it talks about mind, having the mind of Christ, having a sober mind. All of those scriptures are leading you to all things. Once you meditate and be conscious of what you're thinking, then you begin to manifest the very things. Those are the things. We're not aware that most of the things that we're thinking has caused most of the reactions or things to happen in our lives. We've attracted that because we are creators. We can create in our mind imaginary things, and your brain doesn't know that what you're thinking is not actually happening. So that's a key point in mentalism. Your brain doesn't know that what you're actually thinking is not happening. That's how people get depressed, because they keep rehearsing the thought of something that happened before, and the body reacts and the brain reacts as if it's happening right now. That's why you say it seems like it just happened yesterday, and it can be 2 years ago, it can be 3 years ago, because your brain and your mind connect and those chemicals drop. Then your body responds emotionally. So as we learn and as we become conscious of our thoughts, being mindful, today I challenge you to be mindful of every thought that comes to your mind. If it is not serving you, if it is not taking you to a positive place, if it is not directing you, then you need to deal with that thought and ask some questions. Why am I thinking this? Why is this still in my mind? What do I need to do with this? When you begin to ask yourself some questions, then you begin to deal with that situation. You begin to deal with that problem. You begin to deal with it, and you move from a problem to a solution. Your brain is designed to come up with a solution for every situation that you have. When you connect it with the mind, the spiritual part, the mentalism of the part, then you begin to receive the very thing that we call asking God for. We have not because we ask not, but we have to go into our brain and begin to create the very thing that we're asking for. And that's a lot of information, and you may have to replay this meditation. But for a few minutes, before we go off the air, before we begin our day, before we move into our mentalism, which is the first principle of God, we are going to just take a moment and quiet yourself and see what runs through your mind. I want you to be mindful right now of any thought that's just randomly running through your mind. And you may have to do this after the live goes off. And once you detect that thought, then I want you to deal with it. I want you to ask questions. I want you to examine it. It's almost like you're doing surgery on your thoughts. And I want you to decide if the thought that you're having is worth having. If it's serving you. Or is it causing you to feel a certain way that you don't want to feel? And this is how we take authority over what we're thinking. Because remember, we're creators. And a thought is a seed. And once we plant that seed, it begins to grow. And once it begins to grow, it's either going to take you forward or it's going to take you backwards. Just a moment. Now you're saying, how do I become mindful of 40,000, 50,000 thoughts a day? When you become conscious of your thought pattern, it will become automatic. It will become just like breathing. You know, you'll arrest thoughts. You'll say, why am I thinking that? Every time that you feel fear, it is a sign that you need to deal with a thought in your mind. It is not a time for you to be afraid. It's not a time for you to give up or get depressed. It's a time for you to deal with that emotion. The experience of you having that thought causes you to go in and deal. So God doesn't allow you to just, sometimes we just let it roam. But that means you need to go in and deal with it. That means somewhere you're not spiritually connected, because God is not giving you a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So that's why we have to deal with the thoughts. That's why we have to go in and we have to allow ourselves to be conscious of what we're thinking. Why are we thinking that? What are we thinking that for? How is that going to help me? And so when you begin to delete some of these thoughts, you can become more connected with the heart mind. Remember, you have a heart mind and a head mind. And so we have to go inwardly in the heart mind to be able to establish opportunities and solutions and hear the voice of God. Well, this is Michelle, and I'm your motivator. And I'm motivating you to move into the mentalism that mine is all and all is mine, remembering that all is God. And as you move into that, you can begin to get all the clutter out of your head mind so that your heart mind can speak clearer. It releases all of the particles that you've had in your head mind that have blocked you. Some of you are dealing with some thoughts from years ago, some hurt. It's a thought. It's not happening to you now. It's just a thought that you have to deal with. And remember that you never remember your past as it really happened, because your brain changes and you're only pulling particles of the past and you're interpreting it in your now mind, which is not how it really happened. So that's some key points that you need to have when you're dealing with hurt, pain, destruction, trauma, all of those things. These are key points. Remember mentalism. And also remember, you've been created by the Creator to be creative. So start creating your creations and stop duplicating these thoughts, these memories, these pains, these hurts, and move forward in the sound mindness of God. May your day be filled with the mindfulness, the positiveness, the things that you need to deal with so that you can move on in your destiny and your purpose and your path. Have an awesome day.